every once in a while a show comes along that really wows me. And so far, just a few weeks into 2025, I found one. American Primeval is a Western limited series that I think is absolutely fantastic. The show has excellent cinematography, superb acting, and dialogue, and also a terrific storyline. Now, probably my favorite thing about this series is that it doesn't hold back in terms of violence and gore. I mean, I don't love watching people get scalped and tortured, but I do think it helps show how dangerous these times were in this series. That said, I'm no expert, but I bet it was even more dangerous than what the show actually shows. Now, in addition to the violence, the show doesn't try and push any sort of DEI messaging or create historical inaccuracies around to please sensitive audiences. I mean, I know the woman chief was created and fictional, as was the young mute Native American. I think her name was Half Moon, but it's really not over the top like we see a lot in Hollywood now. I mean, we don't see Half Moon overpowering or killing men like we do in many Hollywood movies today. So if you haven't seen this show, it just recently came out on Netflix. I'm going to give a quick summary without giving away really anything on the show. Now, this is set against the backdrop of the Utah War, and American Primeval tells the story essentially of Sarah Rowell. She's a wealthy woman from the East. She's not a real life character, she's a fictional character, and she's essentially trying to venture west to find her son's estranged father. Now, back east, Sarah killed a man in self defense, and she has a bounty on her head. She's a wealthy woman. She's desperate and really hopes the boy's father can help them, although it seems deep down she knows that he's not going to help. He seems to have abandoned them, although the show doesn't specifically say it. While traveling west, Ral and a large group of settlers in the opening episode were slaughtered by. Now, Ral wasn't slaughtered, she actually got away, but a large group of settlers, they were slaughtered by a group of Mormons and Paiute Indians. Now, this event, known as the Mountain Meadows Massacre, really did happen, although I'm pretty sure the details from the show don't match the historical accuracy of this. Now, during the massacre, once again, Rao was able to escape with her son and were aided by one of the other main characters. His name is Isaac. He's a skilled tracker and warrior who lives out on the land. Unfortunately, he used to have a family, but his family was slaughtered. So the storyline is pretty simple in this series. It's an extremely violent area with Mormons, the American government, and Native Americans all fighting to control the land. There's paranoia, there's plenty of backstabbing and lying, and often problems are settled through killing rather than words. Now, usually when I praise a show or movie, I'm able to nitpick and find some things I don't like. In the show, I would say the first 5 episodes, there was definitely nothing. The final episode, I would have liked to have seen maybe a little bit of a different ending, but for the most part, I thought it fit the show as we saw, at the very end, Isaac ends up dying. Some other main characters, I can't remember their names, they ended up dying as well. And after watching this show, I really had to ask myself why I watched so few Western shows. I liked Yellowstone and love movies like The Revenant, older movies too, like The Unforgiven and Tombstone. And I think for me, I tend to enjoy the backdrop in the Mountain West area, as it really shows how tough these men and women had to be to survive back then. The more traditional Westerns, probably not as much when it's just guys kind of gunslinging out in the, in maybe like Oklahoma or something. But I think out in the Mountain West just seems to suit me better. As for American Primeval, I really think that this should be an anthology series similar to something like American Horror Story or True Detective. The fact is, there's a lot of ugly and violent history, and the show could basically go in the same direction that they did for this show, maybe focusing on one violent historical event and then create some fictional characters along with some true characters like they did in this show. It really worked brilliantly, And hopefully Hollywood will take notice and actually start making more shows and movies like this with original writing, original dialogue, and instead of just remaking the old movies and just making sequel after sequel and Superman or superhero movie after superhero movie. I mean, we've got just too many of those. Anyhow, have you seen the show? What did you think? Did you enjoy it? Have you heard, are they going to make any sort of second season to this? Let me know. Thanks.